For this practice, you will need 1 chair, 4 wooden blocks, 1 soft block, 2 blankets, 1 strap, your mat, and you'll need to be near a wall. We'll start by setting up for our back bend. So place the chair facing you at the end of your mat. Make sure that all 4 legs are on the mat so that the chair doesn't slide away. Make sure all of your wooden blocks, soft block, and strap are nearby. And then we'll start by sitting down and strapping together your legs by putting a block in between them on its lowest height, and then strapping yourself in. Once your legs are together, you'll put your feet up on the edge of the chair and lay down on your back. So the arches of your feet are on the edge of the chair so that you can press into your feet and lift your hips up off of the mat. You'll slide 2 wooden blocks underneath your sacrum at first, and then rest your sacrum back down onto the blocks. This gives you enough height to be able to slide the soft block underneath your shoulder blades on its medium height. And then once you do that, you'll lift up your hips again and place the 3rd wooden block underneath your sacrum. This one can be a little hard to get into on our own, so just be gracious with yourself. Take your time getting into it, and make sure that especially the soft block feels like it's in the right place so that you're really supporting your upper body with it. And it should also be in a place that allows you to place the crown of your head on your mat. You can now let your legs go long on the chair, and your arms can come out wide to the side. This is a really helpful back bend because it helps us get our pubis higher than anything else. And all of our back bends really originate all the way down at our pubis. They really have little to do with our upper back, neck, and head. So now that you're here, allow yourself to start dropping into the present moment. Notice your breath moving in and out through your nose. And feel how the boundaries of the strap on your legs, the blocks underneath your sacrum and your shoulder blades, the chair that's supporting your legs. Notice how these boundaries help you to feel contained, safe, and how they help you occupy your middle. You have your right arm reaching out to the right and your left arm reaching out to the left. Energetically feel them pulling apart so that you find even more space in your middle. And then imagine that the soles of your feet were traveling forward in space. The crown of your head is traveling away from the bottoms of your feet. It isn't very often in life that we allow ourselves to just be, and that we put ourselves in a therapeutic pose. Find yourself mediating between above and below, left and right, in front of you and behind you. And then place the arches of your feet back on the edge of the chair again. And then lift up your legs straight up towards the sky. You'll have a slight bend in your knees. Try to imagine that your feet could go flat on the ceiling. This means that your feet are flexed. Imagine there was a weight on top of them that's rooting you down, and that then the blocks are pushing back up. And then unstrap your legs, remove the block that's in between them, and place the strap and the block off to the side. Now we're going to take an eagle wrap with our legs. So you'll wrap your right leg over your left, and then bring your left foot down to the mat. And then your right arm goes under your left, and your left hand plants beside your right ear as you gaze over your left arm. You'll notice that there's a little bit of pressure in your throat. This is a really good posture for your thyroid. So take a couple of really deep swallows here. And you can even add in 50 Kapalabhati breaths, which is a forceful exhale, if you'd like. So choose between those two, either swallowing intentionally or taking a round of Kapalabhati breathing. And then you'll release your arms, bring them back out to the sides. Send your legs back up towards the sky as you uncross them. And then take the opposite cross. So this time your left leg will cross over your right. Your right foot will come down to the mat. Then your left arm will go underneath your right. And your hand will plant by your left ear this time. Your gaze turns slightly to the right. Option again for Kapalabhati breaths, or taking some deep intentional swallows to help support your thyroid. Go ahead and release your arms. Send your legs back up towards the sky. And then you're going to place the arches of your feet back on the chair. And then lift up your hips to start removing the blocks from underneath your sacrum. Remove 1 or 2 blocks from under your sacrum before removing the block from your shoulders. And then once you've removed all of the blocks from underneath yourself, come down, sticking your butt out. You don't want to round your spine coming down. And just rest for a moment with your hands on your hips. Roll off to one side to press yourself up. And then we're going to set up for bow over the chair. So make sure that all of your props are off to the side except for the chair that's still on your mat. And then you're going to put your legs through the side of the chair that has the back on it. So you'll be sitting backwards in the chair. And then go ahead and grab your soft block and your strap and a wooden block for your head. So you'll put the wooden block underneath where your head will go on its highest height. And then use the soft block and the strap to once again strap in your legs so that you keep your middle, so that you're not splaying out, so that you have boundaries for yourself, a sort of frame for yourself that helps keep you contained and through which you can flourish and thrive. So once you've strapped in your legs, bring your butt about halfway off the chair so that you can slide your pointed feet underneath the chair. And then you'll start to lay back. You'll find your head on the block and you'll reach under the chair for the tops of your feet. This is once again helping your pubis come forward so that your back bend starts all the way down there. And in this posture, you are a closed circuit. You're getting a glimpse into your future. This is a great opening for your psoas if you drive a lot, if you sit at a desk a lot. Now release your hands from your feet. Walk your feet out from under the chair and walk them away from you as far as you can go with your full foot still staying on your mat. And then reach your arms up overhead towards the top of your mat with your fingertips on the floor grounding down. Think about your armpits rotating towards your heart. And feel the big arch that you've now created in your body. Very slowly and carefully reach your arms for the back of the chair and pull yourself up into a seat. Step out of the chair and we're going to set up for down dog over the chair. So you'll place 2 blocks in front of the chair. The chair will be facing those 2 blocks. Then you'll have 2 blocks behind the chair and you'll put a blanket over the back of the chair. Also bring your soft block on top of the chair so that your chest will be on it, on its lowest height. Stand up on the blocks behind the chair and drape yourself over the chair so that your chest meets the block on the chair and your hands reach forward to the blocks in front of you. Your heels will be lifted, your knees will be bent. And you can play around with what height your hand blocks are on. They can be on the lowest height, they can be on the medium height. This will depend on your height. And as you start to get settled, think about your butt lifting up towards the sky, a curve forming in your low back, and you're looking slightly forward. Down dog is a 60-degree triangle of strength, structure, and stability. It's a pose that we often come back to as a reset, as a recentering, reforming. It's important in life to have something that you keep coming back to, that's part of your cycles, that's part of your pattern. Because when we have a home base, when we have something that we continually come back to, that the archetype of doesn't ever change, we can check in with ourselves. It's a common variable that helps us understand what happened in our past, what's going to happen in our future, and most importantly, what's happening right now in this moment. So spend a few more breaths here in your down dog. This might be intense if you've never done it, especially in your hip crease. But what's great about this pose is it's really helping us get into the first fold of our body. Imagine that you were trying to hold the blanket that's over the chair in your hip crease. Imagine that the chair was just going to disappear and you were going to have to keep that blanket there. What do you have to do to keep it? Rotate your armpits towards your heart. Keep searching for the curve in your low back. Imagine that your heels are reaching towards the block. Your butt bones are reaching up towards the sky. And then make sure that your blocks are on either the medium or highest height. You can always adjust as needed. You're going to look forward and walk your hands over to 10 o'clock. So imagine you're on a clock face and you walk your hands over to 10. And the reason we choose 10 is because from 10 to 2, the arc that we're about to make, 10 to 2 is the arc of joy. It's our future. It's what's in front of us. So you keep looking out. Keep pressing into your right foot to keep it planted on the block as you reach forward with your right arm. And then make a huge, big arc, walking back through 12 o'clock over to 2 o'clock. Take your time. This time you're going to have to be extra intentional about pressing your left foot into the block as you reach your left hand away. And 2 o'clock is the place in Katonah Yoga where we're always directing ourselves. So even when you're just sitting in Virasana or you're in Tadasana, you always want your heart shining out towards 2 o'clock because we're moving in time and space. And so we don't want to just move forward. We want to move forward and to the right because we're moving in time. So you walk your hands back in towards 12. So place your 2 hand blocks off to the side, remove the block from underneath your chest, and then reach your arms to the back legs of the chair. We're going to come into a back bend, so you'll start to lift your legs up towards the sky. Keep looking forward. Try not to clench onto your butt. And then lower your legs back down onto your blocks. Really carefully start to walk your hands up your chair to stand up. And then we're going to move towards the wall. So we're going to put the chair in the wall, kind of upside down. And we're going to start by placing one blanket over the base of the chair, and another blanket that's going to go over the structure of the chair, and then slide back through so that you're not doubled up on the base. Once you have your blankets set, you won't need any of your other props right now, so make sure that they're off to the side. And then you're going to place your knees in the lip of the chair. Make sure that there's enough padding with the blanket so you don't hurt yourself. Your shins are up against the base of the chair. And we're going to start to move our hips forward and backwards. So you're going to come through and go back, come through and go back. And just keep this going for a little bit. This is starting to lubricate your hips, the front of your thighs. And then we'll pause, and you'll step your right foot forward to a 90-degree angle. Keep your left knee right where it is. Make sure that your right foot is out to its own side. You're slightly pigeon-toed. so that the outside of your foot is parallel with your mat. And we're going to do that same sort of motion, but now our right knee is forward. So you're going to come out of your lunge and go back into your lunge, and come out of your lunge and go back into your lunge. And your hands are still on that base leg pair. Keep looking forward, don't look down. And then move your hands to the back legs. And then make sure your lunge is at a 90-degree angle and grab onto opposite elbows overhead. Whenever you create a frame, you create a structure, 4 corners. It helps you look out into the world in a very specific way. It helps you have boundaries, and it helps you find more in the space that you do have. And then place your hands on the inside of your right foot. Your right heel of your hand is going to be in line with your right heel. And then we're opening up into a warrior, so turn your torso 90 degrees to the left, your gaze 180 degrees to the left, your arms straight up towards the sky. And then option here to find some spherical nature in this warrior by bringing your left arm by your left ear, thinking about your pubis, navel, sternum coming forward. And instead of looking back, your gaze is really starting to track forward and up. And we're going to move into a lizard variation. So you'll bring your left arm back down. Bring your left forearm to the mat, your right foot out to 45 degrees. And your heart is now shining towards 2 o'clock, getting into your hip in a little bit of a different way, a bit of a different angle. And then bring both of your hands back on either side of your right leg. Step your right knee back to its original place. And then we're going to take our hips forward and backwards again. And then step your left foot forward to a 90-degree angle. Bring your hands back to the bottom legs of the chair and start to shift forward and back, so bending and unbending your left knee. And notice any sensations that this creates in the front of your right hip. What is this opening up here? Bring your hands to the upper legs of the chair and keep going. And then once your knee is back at a 90-degree angle, grab onto opposite elbows again. Try to have the opposite arm in front. Then turn your heart slightly towards 2 o'clock, even though your vision is still straight forward in 12 o'clock. Bring both of your hands on the inside of your left foot. Your left heel of your hand will be lined up with your left heel. And then find your warrior. You reach your right arm up. You turn your torso 90 degrees, your vision 180 degrees. And what's great about these warriors is once you're able to turn your vision 180 degrees, if you're able to do that on both sides, then you're able to see 360 degrees around yourself. So you become the center of your circumstances. You're able to see your entire sphere of influence. So option here to make this spherical, bring your right arm by your right ear, pubis, navel, sternum forward. You're moving through not only space, but also time. And that's why these warriors end up becoming spherical. And then coming into our lizard variation, bring both of your hands back inside of your left foot. Your right forearm comes down to the mat, and your left toes go out to a 45-degree angle, which also means that your knee is now angled as well. And even though this time you're facing towards more of a 10 o'clock, still think about your heart singing out to 2. So bring your hands back to either side of your left foot. Step your knee back just for a moment. And then bring both of your feet to the bottom of the chair. So we're moving into a down dog. So you'll walk your hands forward, your knees come off of the back of the chair, your feet go on the back of the chair. Shift forward into a plank to make sure that the length of your down dog is the length of your plank. You can measure out shoulder distance apart by bringing your middle fingers to touch and then pivot on the heels of your hands so that your fingertips are facing forward again. Look back at your feet and make sure that they're hip distance apart, which will look about 2 fists worth. So your knees are bent, your heels are planted on the chair. Rotate your armpits towards your heart and just hang out. Notice how this down dog feels different than the down dog over the chair. And how did the down dog over the chair set you up to be able to access this down dog a little more easily today? And then look forward. Step your right foot forward to a 90-degree angle. Your hands stay on the mat. Find your right knee in your right armpit. Your hands come out to either side. You can come up on your fingertips. Look forward. Find a little bit of a back bend, pubis, navel, sternum, forward and up. And then plant your hands again. Step your right foot back to your down dog. Look forward, step your left foot forward to a 90-degree angle. Find left knee and left armpit. Walk your hands out wide, come up onto your fingertips. And keep pressing into your right foot so that it stays in contact with the chair. And then plant your hands again, step back to your down dog. Keep your left hand where it is. Place your right hand on your back, palm facing up. Try not to dump into your left shoulder, which is what most of us tend to do because we're so used to using our floor of ability, our floor that contains our arms and our back. What we really want to do is try to stay really grounded in your feet here. And then bring your right hand back to the mat. Your left hand to your back, palm faces up. Once again, where is your weight? Is it dumping into your right shoulder, or are you able to cross-reference right shoulder to left foot and pull them apart? And then cross-reference right foot to imaginary left arm and pull those apart. And as you use cross-referencing, you can keep the weight from just dumping into your right shoulder. So bring your left hand back to the mat. And then step your feet off of the chair. And we're going to sit back onto the chair. So you'll be sitting on top of the little throne that you've created with your blankets. And we're going to find a twist. So you'll reach your right hand first to the seat of the chair. And your left hand will reach behind you for the leg of the chair. Keep your hips at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And notice if there's a place in your back where you're getting stuck. One thing that can help is think about your right nipple coming under and around, and that'll help you find a little bit more space to get around to your left. And then coming to the other side, turn towards your right. Your left hand will reach for the seat, and your right hand reaches for the leg behind you. This time it's your left nipple that's wrapping under and around. It's your left ribs that are trying to come under and through. And with every breath, you can find a little more space to come forward and around. And then release your twist. And we're coming into a forward fold. So just shift forward. Start by measuring out your hip distance with your feet. That's 2 fists worth in between your arches. Slightly pigeon-toed feet so that the outer edges of your feet are parallel with your mat. Your knees fit right into your armpits, and you can even reach back for the chair to help you find more contact of your upper body and your legs. Forward folds are so important because they help us with the first fold of our body. And yoga is like origami. If you mess up the first fold, everything else is not going to fit together correctly. So this is arguably the most important fold. How much do you need to bend your knees to be able to find belly and thigh contact so that you know you're really folding from your hips? Grab onto opposite elbows. Let everything just hang towards the mat. And then place your hands underneath your heels for a ball and a mitt fit. And notice that the more contact you make with yourself, the more you calm your nervous system, and the deeper you're able to take this, but not with pain or forcing. It just becomes easier because you're more relaxed. You're soothing yourself with your own body. And then release your hands and we'll start to roll it up, stacking your vertebrae. Reach your arms up overhead once you get to the top. Hook your thumbs. Your fingertips point straight up towards the sky. Rotate your armpits towards your heart. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, release your arms. And then we're going to set up for one final thing with the chair before we wrap up our practice. So you'll bring the chair back up to standing on its legs, and it'll be towards the back of your mat, facing forward. You're going to need a block, a strap, and your soft block for this one. So once you've set up your chair, you'll place a soft block on its medium height on the chair. You might have to adjust that. And then you're going to sit on a wooden block in front of the chair a couple of inches, and you'll strap your legs together so that you give yourself that boundary. So your knees will be together, you'll be sitting in hero's pose, and your feet are hugging the sides of the block. So once you've strapped yourself in, you may have to adjust how far or close you are to the chair. This just takes a bit of adjusting at first. You're going to lean back over the chair, and your head will find the soft block on top of the chair. Couple options for arm variations here. You can grab onto opposite elbows. You can reach through the chair if you're still near the wall for the wall, and your fingertips will reach it. But if that's not happening, no worries. You can just grab onto opposite elbows. And we're just going to be here for a little bit. So another back bend here. And what's great about back bends is every time we back bend, we're bringing forward our potential. So instead of being caught in our past when our shoulders are really rounded and we have a curve in our spine and we're hunched over our desks, our past is really taking over. It's really invading our present moment. And when we back bend and we bring our heart forward and our lungs forward, we're working with our potential. We're living into our future. And that is a beautiful thing. And while you're here, you can play with the breath of the seasons. On your inhale, imagine spring rising up the front side of your body. Hold at the top for summer to blossom. As you exhale, the leaves of fall down your back. And as you hold empty, the silence of winter radiates underneath you. On your inhale, spring rises up your front. Hold at the top for summer ripening. Exhale for fall down your back. And then hold at the bottom for the silence of winter. Continue with the breath of the seasons. We'll take 5 more rounds of breath in this asana. As soon as you're done with your 5th breath, slowly start to bring yourself out of this. And we're gonna end with a forward fold. So you'll move your chair off to the side. And you'll want to sit up on 1 or 2 blankets. And you'll have 2 blocks in front of your feet and a strap to strap yourself in. So we're going to take this with our legs together today. So sit up on 1 or 2 of your blankets and make sure that you are rooted down through your perineum. So you're plugged in a socket. It's how you plug yourself in. Your soft block will be in front of your feet on its highest height. And you'll have a wooden block on its medium height behind that. Strap yourself in to help yourself find your first fold and get your chest and belly right on your thighs. And then reach for your blocks, rest your head on your legs. And it's really important to bend into your knees as much as you need to here. So it's more important that you stay on your perineum and that you're in your first fold than it is for you to have straight legs. And even when you're really flexible, you don't want to hyperextend your knees and have super stick straight legs. Because when we're too rigid, we break. So you can play with the breath of the seasons again. You could play with the grace and effort breath, fire rising up your back, and grace descending down your front. Just be here for a couple of minutes. In every forward fold, you have a back bend, so try and see if you can find your back bend even as you are folding. And that doesn't mean that you don't relax your head and your neck and allow your nervous system to really chill out. But it's just one more way that you can use your mind to mediate the polarities. You can also cross-reference from your right foot to your left hip and your left foot to your right hip, your left shoulder to your right hip, your right shoulder to your left hip. And whenever you're cross-referencing, wherever the X marks the spot, especially on your back, that's where you can back bend. Grab onto your opposite elbows, and with a back bend, bring yourself up and out of this. Do a really gentle twist over to the right. Bring your left nipple around, your right hand behind your back. And then to the left, your right hand comes to your left knee, left arm behind you, right nipple comes around, As you stay plugged in, you think about your crown reaching up and your right nipple coming around. And go ahead and unstrap yourself. Move everything to the side except for one block, which you'll sit on in Hero's Pose one final time. Reach your arms up into the shape of a V. We're going to take 50 Kapalabhati breaths to finish out our practice as you catch all of the grace of the universe that's raining down into your palms. Take an inhale breath. Inhale, reach your arms up, hook your thumbs at the top. Take 3 more sips through your mouth. 3 more sips. And as you exhale, release your arms. Bring your hands to your heart. Bring a smile to your face. Thank you for practicing. Thank you for taking the time to connect your mind, your body, your breath. This is such a gift. Namaste.